Last night got pretty bad. I got there down to the federal building, and from my vantage point, the very first thing I saw when I was walking up was this. Yeah, so dumpster on fire in the middle of the street, about 1,000 mostly black-clad rioters there. They were throwing massive fireworks into the center of it, which if you weren't watching what was happening and you were just in the area downtown, you would have thought were explosions. Well, it is explosion, but a bomb of some kind. It was crazy. So that went on for about 30 minutes. Really no police in sight. There were a couple SPD cars that were blocking traffic along that street in front of the federal building a little ways down. But eventually, the Seattle Police Department, within an hour for sure, came in hot and heavy.
Oh my God. Wow.
What you didn't see right before that video started is the police had formed a line up the street, and these rioters were so emboldened, they marched right up to the police, and someone took one of those massive fireworks and they threw it in the middle of the police line. I can't imagine that there were police officers who weren't injured as a result of that. But I thought one of the things SPD did pretty effectively is so first of all, their very first mission was to clear that street so they could put that fire out in the middle of it. But then they used their bicycle officers to split the crowd apart and to send the crowd in 3 or 4 different directions. And so when that happens, you see the crowd start to thin out. You know, they'll try to regather. They tried a little bit at the federal building, but within about 2 hours, I would say the Seattle Police Department had the overall riot under control. But the destruction left behind was pretty severe at the federal building, and there were still people after police had dispersed the crowd. I mean, I captured a guy spray painting the federal building, no one around to stop him, complete lawlessness. All measure of things. Sorry for the penis drawing that you just saw. They're very mature people, obviously. So look, things are definitely escalating. I will say that. I don't know what to expect for Saturday. There's this No Kings march that's going to happen in Seattle, a bunch of other cities in Washington state and across the country. I think they said there's like 1,900, so almost 2,000 of these No Kings protests that are going to happen across the country. I think you're going to see a lot of sort of older progressives who have no intention of being violent, who are going to march in the streets. But then, as always, particularly in West Coast cities where our leadership is zero, you have these Antifa types who they're bent on violence and chaos, and they are going to take to the streets. They're going to use that crowd as cover, and then they're going to stay late into the night and do probably some version of what we saw on the streets last night. A lot of credit to the men and women of the Seattle Police Department who, despite weak leadership, as we discussed on the show yesterday, are out there doing their jobs and putting their lives on the line to try to protect citizens and property.